up again at some point during our conversation with Kyle Haines, which is a conversation I know you and I are both really, really looking forward to.
Absolutely.
Because this is the senior director of player development at a time when player development is being discussed with the San Francisco Giants more so than, any time I can remember in the last 5 years. That's Kyle Haines. Joins us now on Willard and Dibs with, as I said, Larry in for Dibs. Kyle, good afternoon, man. How you doing?
Afternoon. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing good.
Excited real excited to have you. So let's jump right in. Luis Matos, 21 years old. What do we got here? Where's this going?
Yeah, it's an exciting position player. Really well-rounded. I think he has a chance to help us even when he doesn't hit because he's a good defensive center fielder. He should run the bases well. He's going to make some young mistakes on the bases, I anticipate. I mean, he's 21. Most 21-year-olds are just now wrapping up their sophomore, junior year of college, and he's in the big leagues. And, there's going to be some young mistakes, but he's going to be a really well-rounded player. He's going to play well offense, defense, base running, maybe, be a spark plug to start a rally, maybe deliver a big hit. He's just a very well-rounded player. Not one standout tool, but very solid across the board in all of them.
Man, I'm so glad we have you here, Kyle. So if Farhan comes to you and says, Kyle, Team X is called and they want this prospect, give me the guy that you're like, Farhan, if they ask for this guy, hang up the phone. Who's the hang up the phone kid in this farm system in your mind?
Well, you got to remember, these are all like my kids, so I just tell them hang up on all of them. I want to keep them all and make sure that they're all Giants at the end of the day. I think depends on who you talk to. I just think, I look at our left-handed pitchers. I mean, that's the guys that really stand out to me, whether it be somebody like a Harrison, a Whisenhunt, like Reggie, Crawford, those guys, those are the first names that come to my head. And then you go to our young position players, the Matoses, the Lucianos, and I can keep going. Obviously the Baileys and Schmitts, but I got way too many of those guys in my head because I love them all. I care about them for as people. I know they're going to be great Giants on and off the field, and I'm emotionally attached to all of them.
Kyle Haines, Senior Director, Player Development, San Francisco Giants, with us here on 95.7 The Game. So, Kyle, let's dive into some of those names you just brought up. What does Kyle Harrison need to do to get to the big leagues? What's the final revolution?
Yeah, I think just efficiency. I mean, he's deep in a lot of counts. Some of it's his own doings. He gets so many swings and misses. He never gets a quick out right now, just because he throws quality strikes and their swings and misses. But I think in general that last part is going to be the efficiency of his outings. And he's just deep in counts a lot. I think people are going to point to walks. The strike zone in AAA is smaller than, the big leagues right now. It's got that automatic balls of strikes that's just incredibly small. His misses are smaller this year. When you see the intended target and where maybe he does miss his, which is a huge step forward. We worked on the slider to create one for a strike and one for a put away, also trying to implement the changeup a little more on the side. But in general, he just needs to be a little more efficient, and the misses just make sure it doesn't put him in hitters counts, because when you put major league hitters in hitters counts, or if you put free base runners on, those tend to come back and bite you pretty hard.
Two outfielders I got to get your thoughts on. Matos hit a ball past me at Salt River in March, and I was like, wow. But what has Matos done to conquer the minor leagues and graduate to the big leagues as far as adjustments? And my buddy, who's a hardcore Giant minor league guy, said you have to ask Kyle Haines about Rainer Arias. He says he's like special, incredible teenager. He's not coming up anytime soon, but he's amazing.
Oh, I'm trying to hide Arias. Yeah, man, that's a good find. That's a deep find. On Matos, I'll hit on that one really fast, since he's kind of the, everyone sees him on the team now. Most of the time in minor leagues, you find a lot of guys with physical tools, but offensively profile, you'll find a guy who has great plate discipline and kind of swings and misses a lot, or you'll find a guy who doesn't swing and miss and they swing at everything. And when you find someone who can blend the two, that's when you really find those special hitters. And Matos, he has unreal hand-eye coordination. He can barrel balls, 3-4 inches out off the outside corner, But when you're facing major league pitchers, that's just not a good odds, right? The odds are not in your favor if you're trying to live on corners to try to get your hits. And the last 2 years, especially this year, Matos has done an amazing job at blending his great hand-eye coordination with just swinging at quality pitches. So that's really been the biggest step forward development with him. With Rainier Arias, 16, I think he just turned 17 in the Dominican Summer League, signed for $2.7 million in this last signing period. And, he's a big, strong, physical outfielder. He's playing center field right now. That's how athletic he is, even though he's got some size to him. Good hit tool, potential good power, but still 17, just turned 17 years old, I believe. And, it's a long ways away, but it's exciting to know that whether it be in AAA or all the way in rookie ball, we have, interesting players up and down the system.
The Senior Director of Player Development, Kyle Haines, for the Giants, is with us here on 95.7 The Game. Get over to our Twitch and YouTube feeds right now. We're going to put up the keyword and the number to text here again in just a few minutes, within the next 5 minutes. See if you can win your way into the introductory press conference at Chase Center after the draft with the Warriors coming up. Kyle, I got a little bit of a two-parter just about Marco Luciano. I think the perception from fans is that things have slowed down with his development. The injuries, and maybe it's just Matos flying by him to the big leagues. Is that accurate, yes or no? And does he still project as a shortstop?
Oh, yeah, I'll go in reverse. He's doing a nice job at shortstop. Sure-handed, kind of not quite as tall and not quite the arm strength of like an O'Neal, a Cruz who plays for the Pirates. So it's not necessarily this incredibly fluid athlete at shortstop, but he's sure-handed, he's got arm strength, and he makes the plays that should be made. I think people just have heard about Marco for so long. We just mentioned Arias, and that's the same age that we start talking about Marco Luciano, and it just takes a long time for some of these younger kids to develop. And we signed Marco at 16. Real instantly was rated our number one prospect, and probably rightfully so. He's still super talented. He's got a presence to him that when he's on the field, even when he doesn't have a good day, I think everybody in the field knows this is a special player. Just watching him walk onto the field and his at-bats. Actually, for having not a good start to the year, if you look at his OPS, he's significantly above league average. His expected numbers, expected OPS, those are really high to indicate some bad luck so far this year. But then also combined with the injuries, he's missed time. So, of course, if you're not on the field, you can't develop. So we knew he was a project when we signed him. He was far from a finished product for the last few years. And, he's just, kind of polishing some of the corners right now. And position players just take a little longer than pitchers whenever they have this kind of this level of talent.
I had Will Clark on the radio this offseason, and I said, Will, give me two guys in the system that you really believe in. And he quickly said Casey Schmitt and Vaughn Brown. What are we seeing from Casey Schmitt right now as far as what's the thing that he's going to have to do to adjust back to the way teams are pitching him? And what can you tell us about Vaughn Brown? Will was thrilled about Vaughn Brown's future.
Well, Will knows the system. Incredible. Most of the time, you don't see alumni with the passion for the minor leagues like Will Clark has for ours, first of all, as you guys are aware. But, he's spot on. Casey, I think obviously people have seen the good of Casey, but right now we're still seeing the youth of Casey too, where, I think he's just got to have the control to realize that it's just winning every pitch. And right now you can see him, he just up there just trying to make things happen. And, I think as he just kind of reins himself back in, he'll be fine. We've seen him go through this in the minor leagues a couple times where, he just goes through a tough rut and, he just needs to calm himself down and get himself back to the real Casey, and he'll be fine. And, young players, this is one thing you go through is that emotional control of, not panicking, trying to chase hits, just trying to have quality at bat after quality at bat. On Vaughn, if MLB, I forgot who it was, Baseball America or MLB.com or someone called me and, they said, well, if Vaughn was he's older. I said, if he wasn't older, he'd be number one on your whole prospect list. He's got every tool there is. His makeup is absolutely off the charts. between him and Reggie Crawford, might be two of the most professional, hardworking guys I've ever been around the game my entire life, and they demand respect. I don't say demand it; they command respect of their teammates, just with their presence. And Vaughn has every tool that is known to man. 5 tools, very hardworking, disciplined, plays the game the right way. He had a few injuries there, but as he's gotten rolling, I think we're seeing Vaughn take over and hopefully polishing up some of his experience and getting those upper level development reps in, and he'll be hopefully ready to help impact our team as well.
Kyle Haines, Senior Director, Player Development with the Giants. Kyle, what do you think of Patrick Bailey's start here in the big leagues, and what does it mean for Joey Bart?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic for Pat. He's went through a lot. He's had some nagging injuries himself that he's tried to play through. You're seeing who he is. He's absolutely a stud catcher, calling a game. He's not the rah-rah type by any means, but he loves to compete and he loves to win. I think we're all seeing that now. Switch hitter, great at bats. We're all ecstatic for Pat. On the Joey question, Joey had the injury himself. I still think Pat Bailey, Joey Bart with Sable catching and playing the outfield, it's hard to beat that combo in the big leagues. For a catching depth, and I know Joey's still going to be a big part of our future. And there's no rule that you can't have one, or you only have allowed one catcher to help impact your team. There's a place for Joey on a winning team. I know that, and I've known Joey from day one. And he's going to go to AAA, get his reps going, polish some things up, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be needing him to come up with some big hits throughout this year as well.
Yeah, Bailey, when he blocked the plate the other day, and that was such a veteran move. So many attributes of Bailey's game are just very, very impressive. That was one of them. That was a phenomenal veteran Buster Posey-like play. The guy I got to get your thoughts on are Carson Whisenhunt. I know he's in Double-A, but man, that changeup arm action is crazy. He just looks like he is just absolutely no fun to hit off of. Give us your thoughts on what he needs to conquer to make those next steps, and what do you think of that change? Because to me, it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, most of the time when you talk about a guy with that type of changeup, you're talking about a guy who's below average fastball, and Carson, he does not have that. He's got this fastball, that riding hard heater, anywhere from the low to mid 90s with rise on it, illusion of rise, combined with this just Bugs Bunny changeup, and it's a pretty lethal combination to tunnel pitches and to create some perception of velocity on the hitter. And then you team it up with, actually, he spins the daylights out of his breaking ball. We're talking well above average spin rates on his breaking ball, so the breaking ball is nothing to scoff at either. So we're talking about three pitches that are hopefully above average major league pitches from a left-hander. So you can hear it in my voice. I absolutely love Carson. He's already played 3 levels this year in the minor leagues, and who knows? He's a lefty, and lefties who have 3 pitches they can throw for strikes tend to pitch a long time, and Carson shows all that makings, and these aren't just average pitches either.
Kyle, there's one other player, and you've referenced him briefly in this conversation, but I really want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on Reggie Otani. I'm sorry, I mean Reggie Crawford. My bad. I don't want to put too much on the kid. I know he's 22 years old. He's in Single A. But does he project to someday do both pitch and play a position in the bigs?
If you put if you're making me take a stance now, I'd probably say no, but we're going to give it a chance to see how it plays out. He's got a lot of left-handed power, but still just very inexperienced on both pitching and hitting. But this is how you draw him up. And, whether he's going to be a two-way guy or a pitcher only, whatever he is, I'm going to tell you this. It's one of the biggest A-plus makeup guys I've ever been around. And his smile's contagious, and he's 6'4", 230, throws up to 100 miles an hour left-handed and hits massive homers. So it's pretty raw and crude considering how much he's not played in college due to injuries or whatever it might be, COVID years and things. But we almost view him as like a high school player experience-wise, and we'll see what we can make out of this. But it's a great starter kid, and I know this is one of those people you strive to be personally. How great of a human he is.
Kyle, it's a thrill to have you with us. And you and I have been talking for years about these prospects, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you transcend regimes. You were there with Brian and Bobby and those guys, and now obviously with Farhan. And I'm just kind of wondering if you could be as candid as you could be with us as far as, is there anything that Farhan brought from LA? LA's had so much success in the minor leagues, and now we're seeing the Giants have a lot more success than maybe they've had in the past. Is there anything that you can point to that comes from the Dodgers with Farhan that you guys have adopted at the minor league level that would maybe explain why we're seeing the number of prospects and the quality of prospects that we are?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if it's necessarily attributed from the Dodgers, but I think we're all a byproduct of the experiences we've had to help shape us. And I'm sure Farhan had experiences in Oakland or LA or even with the Giants that we've all learned, that he's learned from, and then he's come into the room and there's experiences that, Michael Holmes or Joe Salermo or Jeremy Shelley have had, myself, that we all apply to try to build the best player development department in all of baseball. And, it's brutal because you have to stay so focused on a great process and an evolving process, and then you're judged on the results. And you just got to stay disciplined and know that you're making the best decisions you can. Now, whether, those are all just Farhan's, I think Farhan would come on and say it's a group effort, and that's the way I feel. And we have all of our experiences to help shape us. I mean, Dick Tidrow and people like that helped shape me. Also, I played 1 year in Cleveland, so there's people there that shaped me. There's all these experiences have been, added to our player development from many different avenues, whether it be a Gabe Kapler, our major league coaches, our front office, et cetera. They're all contributors to what we do.
Kyle, you mentioned what Farhan would come on and say. He's going to do that in about an hour and a half. So is there anything you'd like us to ask him on your behalf?
No, that's okay.
Okay, you have his number.
I need to ask him. I'll ask him. I talk to him every day.
Okay,
so,
all right. All right, we'll ask him then what you asked him. We'll do that coming up. But Kyle, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. That was a whole lot of fun.
No problem. Happy to be on.
Thanks, Kyle.
There it is. Kyle Haines, Senior Director, Player Development, San Francisco Giants. Farhan Zaidi joins us.